My, how we go about these things. Right here in my room, I have all the makings for an amazing mystery, right? Except it's not Nancy Drew or the Hardy Boys, because it's real life. It's part of the reason I'm so grateful. I'm going to be grateful. I'm grateful. Thank you for your service, John Parnell Walker. Thank you so much. I'm especially grateful for this information I just opened up to in this book about conversations between Louis Brandeis and Felix Frankfurter. What did I just find? Frankfurter tried to prevent the Schechter case from coming before the court. Corcoran had told Roosevelt that yielding on the case would be, quote, most impolitic and dangerous because fundamental situation on court not changed, end quote. Given the mood of the court, Frankfurter knew that the NRA would be overturned, and he also knew that Brandeis would decide against it. Frankfurter also disapproved of the NRA, but preferred it to die a natural death, which would avoid strained relationships and embarrassment for the administration. Wow. You know, the ironic thing is the next paragraph begins with a guy named David Reisman. Reisman, is he any relationship to the doctor? I'm sorry, that's not relative to this case. Or is it? The problem is they're talking about a very different NRA than people are talking about today, aren't they? Yeah, the NRA he's talking about is not the same NRA. But the thing of the matter is, my Frankfurter reference is different anyway as well, because I just read this other book that I just got involving also Roosevelt. And the fact that before Frankfurter ended up getting to the Supreme Court, he had been requested to be the first head of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Did you know this? I didn't know. Or rather, not the first head. He was going to replace Kennedy. They were going to get Felix to replace Joe. Can you believe that? Oh my goodness. Do you have any idea how nasty that would have been? Do you know how nasty it would have been if they had gotten Frankfurter to replace Kennedy? Oh my God. Oh my God. Because the problem is that if you think about what actually qualified Joe, Frankfurter didn't qualify. He did something else, right? Including maintain a correspondence with Louis. But that's not even the Frankfurter I'm dealing with. I'm dealing more with Felix, as in United States versus Felix. This is a different Felix, but over time, we're getting closer. We're getting closer to the NRA of our time, right? Not quite yet, but we're getting there. And part of what is the important aspect of understanding here is that the United States versus Felix is also part of a consideration of this case here. Now, this case here went to the Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, United States versus Felix. Majority opinion written by one justice, right? January 1992 argued, decided March 25th, 1992. But prior to that, what did we have? United States versus Felix, February of 1991. And the best part about this is what it says a little further down. I'm going to read this to you. This is why you need to, be mindful of who you acknowledge and who you don't acknowledge and when and how you do it. Because, what does it say? Right here, I just found it. Just give me a second. It's just taking a second. Oh, wait, right here. Let me make sure. I gotta increase the size. Wow. Defendant. Well, apparently I have to take my glasses off. Do you think I can find it if I take my glasses off? Let's see. Oh, yes, exactly. I take my glasses off. I find exactly what I need. Deputy Solicitor General Bryson argued the cause for the United States. With him on the briefs were Solicitor General Starr, as in Kenneth Starr, Assistant Attorney Mueller, as in, what's this guy's name? Who's this guy? This Mueller guy? Who is he? What's this guy's name? Robert. And what else do we have here? And James A. Feldman. So So far as I understand, the important thing right now for those that might be interested, especially why I referenced you, remember what we were talking about? Yeah, medication. And not just medication, but at least where I was coming from, which was potentially exploiting access to methamphetamines in order to allow for ingestion of methamphetamines and or some form of amphetamine in order to excitate responses in the battlefield, and what it meant if standing armies allowed for the distribution of stimulants to people that were actually active duty combat, and how that might impact their judgment in terms of identifying alternatives to escalation of a situation, and how that might impact their responses to how to handle the encounters of the actual situation once they engaged it. Was there any correlation between approval of, prescription of, or distribution of stimulants, including what would be considered a form of amphetamine, to people in the actual battlefield, and the manner in which they responded to the context they encountered, including what they would consider to be an appropriate response to various actions engaged by civilians they encountered? Was there any connection between this and collateral damage reports? And or even connection between this and the kind of reports that had been revealed about the treatments of alleged prisoners of war, or those that were identified in some manner as not being eligible for a treatment as prisoner of war. I know. Who was thinking about this in December of 2016? Well, there had actually been an article that had been published specifically about that topic in the beginning of December 2016. Now, I did not know about this at the time. And the reason I respond in this manner is because in the Supreme Court opinion, let me make sure I got it right here. The double jeopardy clause. A. Dowling versus United States. That's the first reference to a case. But B. A substantive crime and a conspiracy to commit. Second case reference. United States versus Bear. Then there's Pinkerton versus United States. Now, Pinkerton versus United States is an older case. Bear. So the second reference here. There's 3 cases that are mentioned in the official holding for the case that went to the Supreme Court. 3 cases. 2 in the second, 1 in the first. The one in the first is one case. And then the second case law reference is an actual fucking drug company. Not only a drug company, but a drug company that has been connected to FDA consideration of normalization of various kinds of amphetamines that were previously identified as illegal drugs, presumably to assist with attention deficit disorder and or some other kind of alleged disorder involving people's responses and response time, as well as potential to focus on a specific matter at any given time. I'm just acknowledging, it's a little late. I'm sorry, it's a little late. But we haven't quite made the 5-year mark. Do you know that? We're exactly 6 months away from the 5-year mark. Today. I just so happened to be doing this research 10 days ago today. I had to follow up. They lost the case. I'm sorry. The information was not available online in the original manner in which I recalled seeing it. Why? Because the truth of the matter is I wasn't even looking at the Supreme Court case then. Because I had found the original case, United States of America versus Frank Dennis Felix. Number 89-7058, United States Court of Appeals, 10th Circuit, February 28, 1991. Where is this located? Eastern District of Oklahoma. What? Eastern District of Oklahoma? Yeah. See, the problem is that this case had some very serious underwriting, including during the time frame wherein the person was being booked. That the case was actually being mounted because the actual events in consideration of the case were occurring. And they were being observed and surveilled by law enforcement that later ended up actually busting it. And then when they busted it, well, they were going to have to get subpoenas. They were going to have to get warrants, including search warrants. They were going to have to get arrest warrants. Then they were going to have to get sureties connected to whoever was the counsel on the case for the defendants, as well as whoever was selected to be the prosecutor. And in the course of that, they were going to have to enter evidence, and they were going to have procedures that went through the court, including briefs and motions, time on the clock. And then they actually had the hearing, and then they actually had the order. And there was a whole lot of things that went on at this time, including hanging bridges. Anybody know about that? Anybody know? When you're hanging from the bar? What's it mean to get hung from the bar? I really want to know. What's it mean to get hung from the bar? Let me ask you a question. How many people that were a member of the federal bar in 1987 through 1991 were taking Dexedrine? How many people that were members of the federal bar were involved in some sort of diet program that required them to ingest an amphetamine that could be available through prescription, but was in a situation of being incredibly massively abused, including in manners that allowed for it to not be ingested as part of whatever the alleged auspices were, but to be crushed up and snorted as some sort of recreational drug? See, a lot of what I understand has substantiated now claims that there's some legitimacy to allowing a drug like this to be used for some sort of a behavioral context or consideration of altering state of mind in order to provide people with the skills that they might need, or to be identifiable as a kind of contemporary work adjunct. It's through reference to and potential cover up for charges that they previously abused actual drugs, including in performance of their official government duties, including as lawyers, including as people in public office, right? And so now we're in a situation where they want to flip it to opiates because the demographic has been acknowledged in a different perspective. We're talking about something different. We're not at a level where we're allowed to talk about what it means that during the Gulf War, the United States was actually actively giving stimulants to people that were serving in the battle. Wait a second. February 28th of 1991? Wait a second. What's the other thing we got here? What's the other thing? Wait, what date is this? January 14th, 1992. Wow, March 25th, 1992. Okay, so those are just the dates there, right? It has nothing to do with anything, right? Okay, except it does. And now we are where we are. And see, nobody wants to talk about these correlations. I got a copy of the Mueller report right here. Mueller was also, at least alleged to be, a veteran of the United States Army. Kenneth Starr had not started to compile the information connected to the Office of Independent Counsel at the time, in connection with any of the events associated with allegations concerning the affairs of a former governor of Arkansas, William Jefferson Clinton. But somehow I'm on a military base in another state while my father is supposed to be providing military service, having dreams that turn out to be long-term capital outlays on other people getting elected to the equivalent, at least, of the office of the president. While I'm supposed to be mired in all of this sex shame that comes with being a precocious young person that's picking up on all of the horrendous pornography in the background that it turns out is financing techniques being exposed or discussed in a conference on the gas and oil sector at the same time. I literally find the case. It's literally right here. What are the major precedents that are discussed in this case? The capacity to use the same evidence to prove multiple charges. It's not double jeopardy. It was part of a long-term conspiracy. It's literally that long-term. At what point did you find out and make your buy-in? At what point did you all find out and make your buy-in? See, because you want to blame this on people that I already know are in a political opposition to what you decide is appropriate for yourself and your representation of who you think you are. And it ends up hitting them while you do what? Then you want to blame it on me? Then you want to come after me and my people? You want to make a justification for completely annihilating my entire fucking family line in order to fucking play out some tribal warfare in another part of the world while you cut deals with the motherfuckers that set that shit up and operationalize it every fucking day. You want to go with me to Oklahoma? Do you and your family want to personally go with me to eastern Oklahoma?